Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to this session of Wellness, Wonder, and Learning. Today, I will tell you about the foods that have most of the plastics. You will be surprised to know that how much plastics we are consuming, we are eating. This is very surprising, my dear friend. Do you know how much plastic you take in your dinner? You will be surprised to know that the 90% of animal and vegetable proteins samples tested positive for microplastics, tiny polymer fragments that can range from less than zero point 0.2 inch, that is 5 millimeters, down to 1 by 25th thousand of an inch, that is 1 micrometer, according to a study in 2024. Anything smaller than 1 micrometer is a nanoplastic that must be measured in billionth of a meter. This is required actually. Even vegetarians cannot escape. According to a study, if the plastic is small enough, fruits and vegetables can absorb macroplastics through root systems and transfer these chemicals bites to the plant's stems, leaves, seeds, and fruits. See how amazing is this? Everywhere we have plastics. Salt can be packed with plastic. A study in 2023 found that coarse Himalayan pink salt mined from the ground had the most microplastics, followed by the black salt and marine salt. Sugar is also an important route of human exposure to these macropollutants, as per a study in 2022. Even, you know, tea bags, many of which are made of plastics, can release enormous amounts of plastics. Researchers at McGill University in Quebec, Canada found bringing a single plastic tea bag released about 11.6 billion macroplastics and 3.1 billion nanoplastics particles into the water, and that water we consume, drink. Rice is also very enormous. It is growing day by day. Now another culprit is rice. A University of Queensland found that for every 100 grams, that is half cup of rice people eat, they consume 3 to 4 milligrams of plastics. The number of chums to 13 milligrams per serving for instant rice. You can reduce plastic contamination by up to 40% by washing rice. Researchers said that that also help reduce arsenic, which can help to reduce the pollutants, you can say. So that's why we should always eat rice after or cook rice after properly washing it, because nanoparticles of plastics and other heavy metals are attached with this, and we should remove it. Now, let us not forget bottled water. What happens? 1 liter of water, that is equivalent of two standard size bottled waters, contained an average of 2,40,000 plastic particles from 7 types of plastics, including nanoplastics, according to a study in 2024. This is very dangerous to human health. We should be very cautious. While macroplastics have been found in the human lung, maternal and fetal placental tissues, human breast milk, and human blood. Until recently, there was very little research on how these polymers affect the body's organs and functions. A March 2024 study found people with macroplastics or nanoplastics in arteries in the neck were twice as likely to have a heart attack, heart attack, stroke, or die from any cause over the next 3 years than people who had none. This is most surprising. Nanoplastics are the most important culprit, you can say, and this type of the plastic pollution is very dangerous to the human health. That is because of these particles, minute particles. This can invade individual cells and tissues in major organs, potentially interrupting cellular process and depositing endocrine disrupting chemicals such as bisphenols, flame retardants, heavy metals. All these get into the body stream. All of these chemicals are used in manufacturing of plastic. So if a plastic makes its way into us, it is carrying these chemicals with it. As per the report, it has been found that these chemicals enter our body stream, blood stream, and cells also. And because of the temperature of the body is higher than the outside, these chemicals are going to migrate out of that plastic and end up in our body. It completely dissolves in our body, you can say. These chemicals can be carried out to your liver and kidney and your brain, and even make their way across the placental boundary and end up in unborn child. So it is going to be hereditary also. There currently is no scientific consensus on the potential health impacts of nano and macroplastics. Therefore, media reports based on assumptions and conjecture to nothing more than unnecessarily scare the public. A spokesperson for the International Bottled Water Association and Industry Association told CNN previously. So, a massive and concrete research is needed so that everyone can be aware of this. All types of proteins contains microplastics. In a recent study which was published in Environmental Research, researchers looked at over a dozen commonly consumed proteins, including beef, breaded, and other types of shrimp, chicken breasts, and suggests that these all contain microplastics, nanoplastics. We should avoid all these things, or we should take care of while taking all these things, consuming all these things. Breaded shrimp contain the most tiny particles by far, at well over an average of 300 microplastics pieces per serving, you can say. Plant-based nuggets came in second at under 100 pieces of per serving, followed by chicken nuggets. Pullock fish sticks, minimally processed white Gulf shrimp, fresh caught Key West pink shrimp, and a plant-based fish-like stick. The least contaminated proteins were chicken breasts, followed by pork joint chops and tofu. After comparing the results to the consumer consumption data, researchers estimated the average exposure of American adults to microplastics could range between 11,000 to 29,000 plastics a year, with a maximum estimated exposure of 3.8 million plus macroplastics per year. My dear friend, this is very dangerous. Fruits and vegetables also tested high in plastics. The oceans are filled with plastics. Oceans are filled with plastics, and a number of studies have captured how those are ending up in seafood we eat. However, fewer studies have looked at vegetables and land animal proteins, such as cattle and hogs, according to a study in 2020. The study published in Environmental Science found between 52,050 and 233,000 plastics particles under 10 micrometers. How much? Each micrometer is about the diameter of a raindrop in a variety of fruits and vegetables. Apples, carrots were the most contaminated fruit and vegetables respectively, with over 1 lakhs microplastics per gram. The smallest particles were found in carrots, while the largest piece of plastics were found in lettuce, which was also the latest contaminated vegetable. So, my different plastics are everywhere. These are the staggering number of plastics in the world today. According to a recent analysis, 16,000 plastic chemicals, which at least 4,200 of those considered to be highly hazardous to human health and environment. How surprising is it? As these chemicals break down in the environment, they can turn into microplastics and then nanoplastics. Plastics so small that it will remain for decades in our life stream, you can say. So, we should take care and we should try to find out ways to reduce plastics. The level of contamination found in the bottled water reinforce long held expert advice to drink tap water from glass or stainless steel containers to reduce exposure. Mason said that advice extends to other foods and drinks packaged in plastics as well. She said, people do not think of plastics as shedding, but they do, she said. In almost the same way, we are constantly shedding skin cells. Plastics are constantly shedding little bits that break off, such as when you open that plastic container for your store bought salad or a cheese that is wrapped in plastics. All these contain plastics. While science learns more about the plastics we consume, there are things people can do to reduce their exposure according to experts. That is how. Try to avoid eating anything that has been stored in a plastic container. Look for food stored in glass, enamel, or foil. Wear clothing made from the natural fabrics and buy consumer products made from the natural materials. Don't microwave in plastics. Instead, heat food on the stove or by microwaving in glass. If you can, eat as much as fresh food as possible and limit purchase of processed and ultra processed foods wrapped in plastics. These are very dangerous and by taking all these precautions, we can avoid entry of nanoplastics in our bloodstream, in our cells, in our life cycle, you can say. So we should be very cautious of it, and we should try to avoid all these things. Thank you very much.